Hey guys, this episode is brought to you by Sinusoid Pro Audio Couture. Ryan, tell us about Sinusoid.
Oh, Sinusoid's so good. They're my favorite cable company. They make cables that are wrapped in the TechFlex. They give you all kinds of options on their website. You can get different plugs. You can get different cable. They tell you all the specs about every single different kind of cable. I mean, there's just so much information there, and you can build your own custom cable just the way you want it. I mean, you don't have to compromise anything. Just every detail custom made just for you. And they're just awesome, great guys. And if there's any reason why you should support them rather than any other cable company, is because they support this show that you love listening to. That's right. They make this program possible. So big thanks to Sinusoid. Go check them out. Buy all your cables from there, or just buy one. Or tell your friends to buy one. You know, be an influencer. Be the change in your social circle. Tell your friends to buy from the good cable company. This episode is also brought to you by Matthews Effects.
Yeah, big thanks to Matthews Effects for sponsoring the 60 Cycle Hum Fantasy Football League, which is now over. Congratulations to Aaron and Aaron, our winner and runner-up.
Double Aarons?
I need to get the rest of...
Or the same Aaron?
They're different Aarons.
Okay,
but
good.
They're both named Aaron. Aaron, the winner, is going to get the Gatsby's artwork architect.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
And Aaron...
I knew which one you were talking about, but I didn't want to say it in case there was something I didn't know about.
And Aaron, the runner-up, is going to be getting the Alchemist, which is the little changeroo box.
Yeah.
Or an equivalent gift card. So
I'd go
thanks,
for the
guys.
Alchemist.
And thanks, Rick Matthews, for sponsoring us this season.
Of course. This episode is also brought to you by Chaseless Audio, makers of the Warped Vinyl Hi-Fi, which is a pedal I've been having just a blast with. I never really used vibrato for a long time in my playing career here, and then I got a couple of vibratos that I liked. I got that Tailspin from TC that I really like, and I got the I shouldn't be mentioning competitors, but I also got the Julia that I like the vibrato on there, but I tend to use it more for the chorus. And then the Chaseless Warped Vinyl Hi-Fi comes along, and it's got all the crazy controls you could imagine, everything that Chaseless is famous for. And this thing just sounds fantastic. It gets weird, and it gets subtle, and everything in between. I've been having a lot of fun with it. And, you know, the thing I always, I feel a little guilty with Chaseless pedals when I have them, because I'm not using them to their full potential usually, because you can just go nuts with the controls. But I've just really been enjoying it as a simple chorus and vibrato that I tweak live if I need to, and then I have a couple presets that I lay back onto if I want to get really weird or really specific.
Get weird.
So go check out my demo of it. I did a lot of work on that demo. I was working on it through the Christmas and New Year's week, which was kind of problematic for me. It took a lot longer than it would have because I was juggling family stuff. And so go watch that video just so I can justify the time that I spent on it.
Oh my gosh.
And also, I want to get more views than Knobs has. He's got like 200,000 views on his video. I've got like 1,800, I think. I'm guessing at the time that this episode airs. So everyone get on there. Get me the numbers to best Knobs. I'm going to start a rivalry with him this year. That's my new...
Your
New
goal
Year's
for
resolution
2018
is to beat Knobs in the numbers game on YouTube, which is a really bad goal to make.
Total
probably not
like
possible.
Annual numbers or pedal versus
per
pedal?
video, pedal per pedal.
Oh, geez.
Yeah. I'm coming for you, Knobs. Actually, I've met him in person before. He's a cool guy, and I have no problem with him. He does great work.
So check out the links for a link to the Chaseless Warped Vinyl Hi-Fi video that we made. There won't be a link to the Knobs one.
Someone, I'm not going to say who, but someone told me that it's the best video for the Warped Vinyl Hi-Fi.
The Knobs one?
No, mine.
Oh.
Yeah. They said
I heard
the
there was the Knobs one.
Well, yeah, the numbers say that, but I don't know.
All right, let's do this.
Hey, this is Ryan.
And this is Steve, and you're listening to 60 Cycle Hum, the guitar buying, selling, trading, modding, fixing, breaking, reviewing, playing smashing, playing podcast.
All right, that was pretty clean. You intentionally diverted from the script, but you kept
I only
it
added
clean.
smashing.
Yeah, but you
and
didn't.
then I
like,
said playing twice.
You didn't fumble it. You were like very intentional with
Yes,
it.
yes.
So I'm impressed. I want you to clean up your intro game for 2018. How about that? I'm making a New Year's resolution for you.
Just for that, I'm going to screw it up next time.
How's it going, man?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm hanging in there. I'm trying to get back to work in the new year. You know, the holidays kind of take everything down to a crawl, and when you're self-employed, it's really hard to get, your steam going again.
That's fair. About halfway through the day today, I was like, man, it's Friday. But then I realized, like, for the week between Christmas and New Year's, every day I was like, man, it's the holidays.
Yeah.
And I basically gave up on working at like 2 p.m. But I was the only person at work from like 3 to 5 because everyone else went home.
Oh man! Well,
So
they need to just get out of there.
even when I give up, I still do more work than anyone else I work with.
Damn,
apparently.
dude, workaholic over here.
Gross.
You're like the dad from Elf. You're gonna have to like quit and start your own book company so you can spend extra time with your son, because that's what happens when you get self-employed. You have all this free time.
Yeah,
so
there you
life
go.
is so easy.
There you go. You get to spend all your time with your kids.
Yeah, I'm a little bitter towards that movie because of that storyline. You go self-employed, and it is the opposite of having free time and family time. You
Right.
are just slammed, and you're hustling hard because you got that hunger, But that's like a common trope in these movies. Like, oh, dad works too hard. He needs to like quit his job because his boss is so mean, and then he can spend more time with us when he starts his own business.
Yeah, that's the real meaning of no money, no problems. Like,
Yeah. I kind of lost steam there on the episode.
yeah.
All right.
This is the part where we ask each other what's new.
Yeah, you want to lead with that?
Are you asking me what's new, or am I asking you?
Steve, what's new?
I don't. This isn't a thing that I got or anything, but I thought this was a funny story.
I better laugh, is all I'm saying.
Okay, maybe it wasn't that funny. I went out to lunch yesterday. I just went to pick up some food, and afterwards, I was with one of my coworkers who was like, "Hey, I haven't seen the new building you guys were moving into like in a few months. Can we go by there?" I was like, "Sure, whatevs." So we go over there, and I'm driving through the parking lot, which is like empty except for one guy on the passenger side of his guitar, like of his car, standing up, and he's like playing a Fender Tornado GT.
What?
With that's
With a racing
the
stripe?
blue with the white racing stripe, the blue metallic. And I'm driving by, and I'm like, what in the world? I drive by this guy like twice, and then we drive around the building, and then I drive by him a third time. I'm like telling my coworker, I'm like, this is the weirdest one. This is like super weird. Like, why is this guy in our future parking lot? Of what's effectively an abandoned building.
Yeah, and playing like the most random, like identifiable guitar ever.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
In this scenario, if you told me, oh, I ran into a guy playing a guitar in a parking lot, I'd be like, oh, it'd be some sort of like cheap Takamine acoustic.
Yeah, no, this was a metallic blue Fender Tornado GT.
Did he have it plugged into
And
anything?
I couldn't tell.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I had my windows rolled up, and I was like, that's so weird. I feel like I should stop and be like, hey, man, you listen to podcasts? My coworker was like, yeah, we only get like half an hour for lunch. So we
I don't
should
have
probably
time for you to chew the fat with some
Yeah.
dude, Steve.
Yeah, you're gonna like talk to this rando dude for like 5 hours, and also,
Oh, yeah.
also,
Sounds like your coworker knows you.
we dropped someone off on our way. So like, I dropped someone off at another restaurant to get food. So we were supposed to be circling back to pick them up, and they're like, yeah, they're gonna be really mad if you just like are here talking to this guy for like half an hour.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that was just random. That's
cool
like
stories.
that's such a small niche. Like, I almost feel like I could hunt this person down if I really wanted to. Like, how many
misconnections on Craigslist?
How many blue, like, Tornado GTs in San Diego can there be?
You were in an abandoned parking lot in the business district of Sorrento Valley playing a blue Tornado GT. I was in my, what do you drive, a Corolla?
It's a silver Corolla.
I was in my silver Corolla driving by, giving you double takes.
Yeah.
Missed connections.
So what's new with you, Ryan?
I bought a Jazzmaster.
You did.
Yeah. I don't know if you remember, but a couple months ago on the show, I said that I had a goal to wait for a guitar to come up used where it was like a Fender offset style thing with the mastery already included with it.
Right.
And have it be kind of a good deal. And that's exactly what I ran into.
Yeah, it took you like a week.
Well, it feels like it was like 2 months ago. 3
Yeah,
months
but
ago that I said that.
okay, so it wasn't like a New Year's resolution.
No, not at all. It was just something I had in my head, and I'd brought it up randomly. So this popped up on Craigslist. I don't know when. I think it had actually been up for a while.
Right.
I just sat down on my computer one day and I jumped on Craigslist and typed in mastery, and there was like 3 ads that came up, and this was one of them. And it had the whole thing where like the cost was set at $1. And I was like, oh, let's see what the actual price is. And he had it listed for $300. And
that's pretty good.
It's pretty dang good,
considering
right?
a mastery's like 200.
No, it's like 170,
170
before shipping. And they don't come up used, really.
Right.
People don't sell their masteries. If they sell their guitar, they either up the price to reflect that, or they keep the mastery and swap on the stock bridge.
So what you're saying is this was stolen.
It might have been stolen. No. So, yeah, anyways, these guitars go for $250 and under used.
I was going to say, so technically like they did up the price a little bit.
Yeah, they did. But $50, like I can deal with that.
Yeah.
If I sell the guitar, it means that I got a mastery for $50. Like $120 off. I have no problem with that. So anyways, I hit the guy up. I offer some trades because I wanted to try to get it without cash.
Right.
And I sent him a picture of a bunch of pedals, and he was like, oh yeah, I'm going to check those out. 2 hours later, he's like, nah, I don't need any of those. I was like, well, I still want the guitar. Let's set up a time to go pick it up. Go meet at the Whole Foods in North Park, which is like the worst Whole Foods I'm imagining in San Diego to pick something up from.
I'm trying to remember
tiny
where that
little
is.
parking lot, and it seemed like people were almost getting in fist fights to find parking around there. And it was like Saturday morning. Like that neighborhood is like brunch central.
Yeah.
Everyone was in like fight to get parking so they could get brunch ASAP, or they were going to like rip necks out. So I ended up parking and waiting in a commercial unloading zone on like a yellow curb. I texted the guy, I'm here, but I'm in the yellow curb. Like, come get it.
Yeah.
So the dude was super chill, super cool guy, as the Gearsome like to say. Super nice guy. He said that he bought this thing from...
On a scale of good to great, how would you rate this guy?
Is it a number system or like alphabetical? Is it
No, like
Dewey
was
Decimal?
he a good guy or a great guy?
Is there anything in between, or
No.
is it just two? I didn't really get to know him, but he seemed like a pretty great guy.
Great guy.
Yeah. Anyways, he said he
would buy again.
Yeah, I'd buy from him again.
5
totally.
stars.
So he said he bought it in Canada, and then he didn't know what he was getting into with the style of bridge, because it came with a stock bridge.
Right.
And so he had to do a bunch of research, and he invested in the mastery, and it just fixed all the issues that he was having. And it really is like a big deal. The stock bridges are very difficult for people to get into, and there's people online who will just chew your ear off about it, like, oh no, you just have to do this and that and that and this, and use the right strings and shim the neck and use Loctite on all the bolts and this and that, and then it's good. It's the way Leo intended. And it's like, come on, just do something that works and get it over with.
Yeah.
And I'm feeling like the mastery is just great. I'm super stoked on it. It's a total player's guitar, in my opinion.
Does is the stock Jazzmaster bridge, is that the same as the Jag style bridge?
It is.
Okay.
So you can
that is the quote like inferior of the offset bridges.
Yeah, I mean, it's like some people love them and they want to use the stock one, and they have all these fixes that takes care of the issues.
Everyone else just throws a Mustang bridge on there.
Yeah, but I had that Jaguar.
Yeah.
I tried the Mustang thing and it didn't fix it.
Huh.
It was still really problematic. So I'm really stoked to have the mastery. I think the guitar itself is great. I really love all the details of it. There's nothing about it so far where I've been like, oh man, the Squier, this is a Squier issue right here.
Right.
It feels to me like the quality that my CIJ Jaguar was.
Oh, okay.
Like the frets are good, the finish is good, the weight is good. It just feels like a really substantial guitar, and I'm just so surprised that something this good came from Squier. I mean, we've known the vintage modified stuff has been good for a long time, but I'm just like so surprised to own one now and feel how good it is day to day. I mean, you can go to a store and pick something up and be like, oh, that's really nice. Or like our buddy Nate had the Jazzmaster Squier.
Yeah,
and,
that's a nice one.
Pick that up a couple times and be like, wow, this is surprisingly a lot better than I thought it would be. But to have it around day to day and be impressed every time I pick it up is like a big deal.
Yeah, I think with Squier, you know, one of the things I've noticed is some of the vintage modifieds, like for me, like the vintage modifieds can be kind of hit or miss depending on the model. The thing that I really like on this Squier Jazzmaster is the neck finish.
Yeah.
It feels really good. There's something about like the satin finish on some of the Squier necks that just, I don't know, it feels cheap to me.
Right. Like there's a satin finish on that Bullet Mustang I have.
Yeah.
And while I sing the praises of that thing, the finish on it does feel like a cheap finish.
Yeah.
And there are satin finishes out there on really nice guitars that feel like a high quality finish. It's a weird thing. Like some satin finishes feel cheap and others don't. I can't really conceptualize that.
I don't know either.
But this is a glossy finish on here, and sometimes glossy finishes can feel really cheap because they feel thick and gummy.
Yeah, that's the import, like the Korean import,
like
stigma.
the Rondo feel, you know?
Right? Or that's like the Epiphone, like why everyone stands their Epiphone necks, because it tends to be a really thick poly that just like if you have a certain type of hand, like your hand basically sticks to it.
Yeah, and this one, it doesn't feel like the thinnest finish in the world.
Yeah,
but it doesn't feel like, you know, like it's Lego plastic thick, and it doesn't feel sticky. It feels nice and smooth and glossy, and my hand just slides up and down it real nice in a really suggestive way. If you watch my video of it.
Oh my gosh!
But yeah, I'm really impressed, and I'm excited to do more content with this guitar. I think I'm going to track down a Stay Trem bridge, because a lot of people have been singing the praises of those, and then I'll get one of the the stock Jazzmaster bridges for it. I mean, it's the same as the Jaguar bridge,
right?
You know what I mean? And do like a video where I have like a part memorized that'll play the same each time, and just swap bridges on it and see if there's a sound difference, and then talk about the feel difference and the issues of each bridge. So that's some content I'm planning in the future for the YouTube channel. All right, do you have anything new gear-wise?
No, we already talked about my new thing.
Oh, yeah.
Just seeing that guy.
Yeah, just seeing that guy. Just
so,
brightened your day.
Yeah, let's just hit these ads, I guess.
Let's get into it.
First one was found by
me,
Ryan Burke.
That's me.
This is called
Mancave.
It says, selling Mancave items all as package deal, brand new in the boxes with amps, all complete, make reasonable offer. So how many guitars are there in this?
There's at least 3.
2,
There's
3.
I don't know the make of this Sailor Jerry guitar, which has this ad already off to a brilliant start, right?
There's a lot going on this guitar.
Yeah, and then there's
it's got kind of
Fender.
That Sailor Jerry guitar's kind of got
there's a Jack Daniels PV.
I don't know what the vibe on this would be.
I'm not sure if that. I don't think the Jose Cuervo Strat is a Fender, but it has a Fender style headstock in the little thumbnail there. I could be wrong about that. I didn't get a shot of the headstock because he didn't.
It does look like a Fender style headstock.
He supplied a shot of the back of the headstock, but I didn't.
But
that
looks like the back of a Fender headstock.
Yeah, but then it's got those cheap tuners from that tiny little thumbnail.
Yeah, but that's Fender. I mean Squier, right?
Yeah, it might be like a Starcaster or something like that.
Could be,
but it just looks really, really cheap. Like, I'd be surprised if it wasn't a Fender product at all. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised.
Right.
So, anyways, I just want to say that I don't like man cave stuff in general. Like, just the term grosses me out. Like, how do you feel about that, like, whole concept? Like, the concept of, like, you know, you get a guy, he gets married, he's got a house, and his wife and him agree, like, oh, this room of the house, that's your man cave. That's where you go in, do all your
That's where you go when
I
don't want to talk to you
when
anymore.
you, like, want to go do the stuff that would be, like, disruptive to the rest of the house. You go in there and watch your sports, play your video games, throw darts, and then spend way too much time decorating it in a really weird way.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the thing is it's like I feel like you really gotta love Sailor Jerry spiced rum to get this guitar. Like,
I don't hate I can't talk all of a sudden. I don't hate Sailor Jerry spiced rum. I've got a bottle of it myself.
I wish I could figure out what I feel like. This might be like a Washburn for some reason.
Yeah,
like
I wish
that
I could
body
see
shape
the
is a
headstock
trip.
on the Sailor Jerry. It's almost got a Supro thing going on with that top horn.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the that Jose Cuervo whatever thing. If that is what it is.
Yeah, it is. It's a Strat, but it's meant to like. Where did I?
No, it's designed and backed by Fender, crafted in Indonesia. So that sounds like a Starcaster.
Oh yeah, totally.
Type, and it's.
But this print on the fretboard to commemorate the Rolling Stones North American tour 1972.
Yeah,
this guitar was not made in 72. So why was it made?
I have no idea. The brand for that Sailor Jerry guitar, I think I'm about to find it.
Find it, man.
It's like
see it.
Rise.
It's
the
something
brand
weird.
I think is Rise.
I'm wondering if this guy bought all these and
had
them in his own man
Is
cave,
that it?
or if he like won them all from the county fair.
This isn't the same one, is it?
What is it?
No, that's different.
Show me.
No, hold on.
Okay.
Hold on. Okay, that's different.
We're going to
That's
get hate
different.
mail now because I hate man caves.
There's a Sailor Jerry custom airline. So this is an airline body shape.
Yeah, but that's not at all
But that's
the
not,
same.
yeah, that's not what this is.
This is like a cheap knockoff version of that. I wonder if this is like an import, like Chinese, like knockoff sort of deal here.
Maybe.
Like they saw that and they're like, oh, just make one of those.
That's so weird.
How bizarre. That was an official Supro, that one that you pulled up.
The one that I pulled up was an official like airline.
Through Eastwood?
Yeah, like it's
That's crazy.
Airline. So I'm not finding one that's like looks cheap like this.
It's got to be a knockoff, right? When we post this in the Facebook group, I'll tag the guy in the group who's the marketing dude over at Eastwood and be like, are you guys responsible for this? I don't think you are. What is going on here? Would you set up a man cave, Steve? If you had a house that had an extra room in it, would you do a man cave?
I'm not like completely opposed to I'm opposed to the idea of a man cave from the perspective of like I'm not against the idea of having your own room.
Sure.
I would even possibly make the argument that effectively like your music room
totally
is functionally a man cave.
Oh yeah. But it's like that's kind of more of like a place of business where man cave is more of a place of like Zen masculine rest.
And that's the thing that like I don't know, like I'm sure there's a lot of people who have them who are like, oh, this is where I go. Like
I feel like it's
a video game room or whatever,
sure.
Right?
Then when you give it the term man cave, it's like this is the man's space, and it's like it feels like the thinking behind it is like, oh, the rest of the house is my wife's, so this is my space,
right? And
that whole attitude is just gross to me. Like, share your houses, people. Like it's both of your houses. Your wife doesn't have. She probably doesn't. She doesn't have a room in your house that's an equivalent to like a tricked out man cave with, like spinning rims underneath a giant flat screen TV with, like Bud Light neon hanging on the walls.
Right.
And whatever. Like,
right.
There's just something about a man cave that's so prissy to me. It's like you really need that much like dedicated to what you have going on. Like,
I found a picture with the headstock and there's no branding on it. It just says Sailor Jerry Spiced Rum.
Oh, weird. So I'm wondering if Sailor Jerry, the brand, went to Eastwood and was like, hey, make us like a good guitar. And then afterwards, or before, I don't know what order, they went and had like a bunch of cheapies made.
Yeah, something like that. All right, so yeah, I like this man cave topic a lot better than trying to figure out this stupid garbage. I'd like to have like a music room, and I imagine like if I ever had a garage, I'd probably have some kind of like closet space in there that I'd be able to store all my gear in with easy access.
But that's still different.
But that'd just be like, that's about it. I don't really like, I just can't functionally like think about having a space where it's like, this is my space, I decorate it with what I want.
There's just something so juvenile feeling about it. It's like the adult.
Here's my poster of Farrah Fawcett, stay out.
It's the adult equivalent of the race car bed.
Right. That's a great comparison, actually.
I've probably beat it to death. That Jack Daniels PV is probably decent playing guitar, but it's just ugly, and I don't even like Jack Daniels that much. I wouldn't play the Sailor Jerry if I got that.
A bunch of my coworkers have Gentleman Jack in their desks.
Well, that's all right.
Here, it's a real easy drink.
I'd drink it if I had it, but I wouldn't want a guitar to commemorate it.
Right.
If I got this Sailor Jerry, if it played nice, I might refinish it or something, because I don't go for that look. It's just too gaudy for me. And then the Rolling Stones Strat just looks like hot county fair garbage. Like,
yeah,
there's nothing redeeming about it. Some sort of weird pattern on it with the Rolling Stones tongue, and then Jose Cuervo printed over it. And it's just a really cheap looking Strat. It's got to be a Starcaster of some kind, or like the bottom of the barrel sort of Squier affinity sort of thing happening. All right, let's move on. Let's talk about the topic.
Yeah,
which is this Nutube nonsense going on.
Yeah, so we're going to talk about. So the big thing that came out 3 days ago, from the time of recording, so like last week, basically,
like a full week ago.
Yeah,
it's old news now, and everyone's sick of it. And here we are talking about it.
Ibanez Tube Screamer, Nutube equipped. Ibanez Tube Screamer. Nutube is a Korg. It's not a Korg technology, but it's something I guess Korg is licensing and putting it in like musical.
They're licensing the name, and maybe they own the patent to it or something like that.
No, it's actually from a company called Noritake.
So they are licensing it through the producer. They're the middleman in between the production and the people putting it in musical instruments.
I believe so. Okay. So I'm looking at Korg's site, and it says by applying their vacuum fluorescent display technology, Noritake Itron Corp have devised a structure which achieves substantial power saving, miniaturization, and quality improvements when compared to a conventional vacuum tube. So apparently, like, these are effectively like real vacuum tubes. Like, at least that's the way they talk about it.
They have. I talked to the Vox rep a year ago at Winter NAMM, and he's like, "Yeah, they're really small, but they have all the same like conceptual components that a regular vacuum tube has.
Right.
They're just miniaturized, and I'm sure there's like a different gas in the tube or whatever." And,
yeah, so
I'm sure there's all sorts of differences that people who really know this stuff can pick out. But that was what was loaded in that MV50 that I demoed, and I thought the tone of it was great. The only thing I didn't like about that amp was the safety shut-off, but I thought it sounded really great, and when I plugged it into the same cab as the AC15, it got really hard to differentiate which one sounded better in subjective terms.
I guess from a technology standpoint, there are a lot of advantages to miniaturization.
There's less power required.
Less power. It doesn't really generate heat, which means even though it's still susceptible...
I think it still generates heat, just not the same amount.
Well, they literally say that it does not generate heat.
Interesting. Does it have a resistance?
So I guess even if it does generate a minimal amount of heat, it's so little that they can effectively suppress all microphonics.
Right.
Which with a conventional vacuum tube, like, you can't really do that because you have to any vibration suppression has to be done in a manner that doesn't over insulate the tube.
Right.
I guess it's some kind of adaptation of something called vacuum fluorescent display technology.
Yeah. Well, these are the tubes that they used in like big flat screen TVs in the late 90s or something like that. And they finally got around to incorporating them into musical instruments. Probably because they've just started making enough of them, or there's a big surplus in a warehouse somewhere. And they're like, let's clear these out, or let's keep this factory running, and the price is cheaper now.
Yeah, it seems pretty crazy. So now you've got these Vox amps, you've got the Ibanez pedal. The Ibanez pedal seems like such a strange application of this.
It seems kind of like a cash grab. It's like, does a tube screamer need a tube in it? Like, that's not what a tube screamer does. It doesn't sound like a tube distortion. The reason it's called a tube screamer is because it makes the tubes in your amp screen.
Right.
Like, you use it to push your tubes.
And so I feel like, they should have partnered with TC Electronic and put this in the tube pilot.
Well, that's what I would like to see. I don't want to see a tube screamer that has a tube in its circuit. I want to see someone take this technology and build a whole new pedal around it, like a whole new concept.
Right.
Or take an existing tube pedal design and swap this in and be like, hey, it uses less power now. It's quieter, or you can do more with it. You can push the tube harder because it uses less power. So you can push that tube into compression and distortion with regular 9-volt now.
Yeah.
With regular milliamps.
I think there's a lot of room.
Or you can have because those MV50s were so small, there's no reason why you couldn't have a pedal-sized amp now with tubes that small.
Well, and I think there could be some very interesting applications in terms of whether or not, I guess, of how adaptable it is. So the idea is like this particular new tube that's in, I think, in the Ibanez and is in the Vox is basically supposed to be equivalent to a 12AX7.
Right.
That's kind of my understanding. So I think it would be interesting to see if this catches on enough that they can do a full, what are the limits of this?
Right.
Basically, if you can miniaturize down to something that fits in a pedal to replace a 12AX7, can you do miniaturization on power amp tubes? And then when will we see, instead of an MV50 that has just one or however many of these Nutube chips in it, can we see an entire Vox AC15 or AC30, but now it's ultra lightweight because every tube is replaced with this. And then in turn, maybe it won't make it that much lighter because, you have to figure out if you're using this, what are your transformer requirements?
Right.
If you still have to have big iron.
Think about the MV50. It didn't have big transformers sticking out of the back of it or anything like that. It was a 51
Yeah, because it was a solid state Class D amp.
But, I think there's some exciting things in the future for Nutube, and I'm looking forward to seeing what people do with them. I think the question will be whether or not they are accessible to people who are small builders, because let's be honest, the big builders like Ibanez and even some of the other companies, there's not a lot of imagination floating around.
Right.
They have to play it pretty safe with their product, or if you get it in the hands of small builders, say if you got 100 of these Nutubes in the hands of, Leon from Pelican Noise Works or Ed Chu or something like that, and tell them just, hey, go invent something around these. I'd love to see what they come up with around them, with a tube-powered fuzz or something, or even I've got that Surfy Bear reverb by a guy who took, the circuit tracing of a Fender reverb unit and just took it all down to a circuit board and replaced all the tubes with JFETs. I'd love to see him do the same concept with the Nutubes and see if you can get it even closer to the sound of a Fender reverb unit, but with actual tubes that are just miniaturized in it. It's I'd really love to see people explore this, especially after having experience with the MV50 and hearing just how good it can sound. It's definitely a viable technology in my opinion. I just don't think that a tube-powered tube screamer is really the best use of it. I mean, maybe we'll go to NAMM and we'll put on the headphones and get to try it and be like, oh, hell yeah, it sounds so good. This is the best tube screamer I've ever heard. It sounds like it's got a tube in it. I just can't imagine that happening. I just imagine
and the price point,
gimmick.
Came out and it's
it's $240.
Granted, it's supposed to be the TS-808 spec, but it's I think $50 or $60 more than the I think at $249, it's the same price as the
It's
TS.
$250?
I think that's the same price as the TS 808 hand wired.
Yeah.
So I know a lot of people were all like who were interested are no longer interested. I don't know. That's their call.
It would be neat to see like a box that's just a preamp pedal.
Yeah.
That fits on your board and it's got a Nutube in it and has some sort of like tube tone shaping knobs on it. Just like I usually use like a solid state amp, but this gives me the option to have a tube sound if I want it, you know?
Right. And I think that's potentially where like some really good application of this could be.
Yeah. Or say you've got, one kind of amp, but you want to have the tube flavor from a different kind of amp. You have it on your board, or you can put it into the loop of your other amp and do all sorts of funny things with it. I think there's some definite promising applications of this technology. I'm looking forward to seeing what people do.
Yep. So let's take a quick minute here.
Yeah, you want to do some housekeeping?
Housekeeping.
Nice song, Steve.
Just want to make a big shout out to our newest supporter, Ethan LaFont. He joins us at the Inner Circle level.
Welcome, Ethan.
I reached out to him today and I said, hey man, this is a delayed email, but thanks for supporting us. Send me your shirt size and your address and I'll send you some stuff.
Yeah.
And he emailed me back and said, here's my shirt size. Here's my address. This is super cool. I didn't know joining the Inner Circle got me free stuff.
You didn't know that?
I guess not.
It says it all the places where you can join.
Yeah. I guess, sometimes I don't know.
Yeah.
But anyway, thanks.
It doesn't also get you free stuff. It also gets you things you can buy, which sounds super lame. But like in reality, we're about to have a new run of 50/50 pedals come out. Leon is feverishly working on them in his little workshop right now, like a Keebler elf, just pounding away. I know it. He posted a picture the other day of him like laying down on like 15 of them. So when the run of 30 gets done, they're going to get sent to us, and then we're going to be handling the shipping on them, I think.
Yeah, and because of that, we aren't going to be doing
no pre-order.
A pre-order.
But anyways,
it's going to be Inner Circle for a couple days, and then first come, first serve.
Yeah, Inner Circle is going to get first dibs on whatever comes out of that run, and the Inner Circle gets a secret, very special, really competitive price on these, where it's like if you join the Inner Circle now and you bought one and then you quit in like a while, like you can hang out for a while, you're still going to save money.
Right.
So if you've got a 50/50 on your wish list, now's a good time to join the Inner Circle is what I'm saying.
Oh my gosh.
Hint, 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 wink, wink, wink. Also, it gets you access to our Threadless shop where all the prices are discounted down to cost.
Yep.
So if you want to buy one of our shirts that are not yet printed, Threadless does like single run shirt printing or like on demand printing, I guess. You can grab one of those for a deeply discounted rate, which is great. And then also we do all sorts of other stuff that's really fun with the Inner Circle. Like we did the Secret Santa with the Inner Circle, which anyone can organize a Secret Santa, but it's just so fun to have that community, have all the gossip that we have in that secret group, and do all the fun stuff that we do behind the scenes. It's pretty great.
Yep. All right, this next ad was sent to us by Cameron Barami. Thanks, Cameron. This is a Warmoth custom, $300 in Galena Park, wherever the hell that is. It says, I built this guitar to be a drop tune beast, going through several different configurations before landing at what is listed here. I love this guitar. It hurts to sell it, but I have other priorities now and should let it go. Here's the specs. Warmoth SG style body, 2-piece mahogany, no finish, tune-o-matic bridge, clip lock style strap, also includes strap and regular style strap buttons, strat neck, maple neck, well, strat style neck,
right?
Maple neck, figured maple fretboard, bone nut, sealed tuners, blah, 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 whatever. Finish sanded off. Okay, yeah. The pickups are Duncan active humbuckers, a Gus G signature neck, a Dimebucker bridge. Both are passive pickups that run. Okay, so they're not actually active humbuckers. They're passive humbuckers that run through a preamp that's built into the bridge volume pot. All the pickup wiring runs to the preamp first. All the wire connections on the preamp are solderless, so changing pickups out is really easy. Pickups work well with or without a battery. Blah, 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 whatever. Here's the bad. It's got a few dings on the back from being played hard. Some slight discoloration from where my hands sit when I play. Price is firm. Don't need the guitar, but know it's worth quite a bit more than what I'm asking. Call or text anytime.
What is he asking?
$300.
I know what this guy means when he says, I hate to see it go or I hate to sell it sort of thing. It means it never played the way that he imagined it would. And he's just never bonded with this guitar.
I think so.
That he spent a ton of time building. You think he cut this body himself? I don't think this is a body that's available anywhere. Like, this is like, it looks decent. Like, he did a decent job, but I think he made this body.
You don't think that's like a Warmoth Body?
No, I don't think so. The horns on it are too funky.
I don't know. I don't know all of the Warmoth shapes.
Warmoth just does like normal shapes. Like if you bought an SG shape
But they might not
from
be able to do an SG shape.
No, I think they can. I think you can do an SG body shape. It just you can't have the Gibson headstock on it, you know, or the Epiphone headstock. But no, this is like a weird one-off body shape for sure. Maybe he had someone else build it.
I don't know if they will still do it, but I know Warmoth. Well, I don't know. I think Warmoth used to do
because this isn't even like
design work. Like you could send them like a design.
This isn't even like the ESP LTD version.
Right. It's a lot. It's a little off.
It just doesn't look like it was done by a professional hand, especially like the cutaway at the lower horn there and the way that the body connects to the neck.
Right.
It just looks a little bit clumsy, but there's parts of it that are like, you know, he did a pretty good job of doing the cutaway on the top edge of the guitar there, like getting it all the way across pretty smooth. And then you look at the wood on one of the pictures where he's got his name carved into it.
Yeah, that was the part where I was like, you could like just come on, man. Like,
to me, it looks like he cut out a piece of wood on a bandsaw.
Dude, is that it?
That's it.
Yeah,
That's
it's called
crazy.
the Diamondback.
You were right. It still looks so shady to me.
Yeah, it's a little...
The Diamondback shape.
This
looks funky. Okay, I guess they did it. He didn't cut that body. What do you know?
How about it?
Yeah. Well, anyways, yeah, I think this is a sort of situation where he, you know, has been tooling around this thing for a while, and it just never felt the way he thought it would, and so it's time to move it. And he probably just ended up buying, you know, a guitar that would do what he wanted it to do.
Yeah. I don't,
which is like a path that I've gone down many times.
I actually really do like the shape of this thing.
I don't mind the shape of the guitar besides a few details of it. Like I always liked the ESP version of the SG.
Yeah.
Like where it's got more of an offset thing going on and it just feels a little pointier because of it. But I'm not a big fan of the horns on this. I'm a fan of the waist.
Right.
I can even deal with the top horn a little bit, but no, I don't like the top horn. And then, you know,
make up your mind.
I can't really speak against this because I'm as guilty as anyone.
Right.
I'm not a fan of the Fender headstock on this. Like he bought the neck through Warmoth, he could have gotten a variety of different headstocks. Like I think like a shredder like pointy headstock would have looked fine as a 6 in line with this. It would have worked. He doesn't have to do a Gibson 3x3 for it, but
you don't like the
Strat headstock just does not work with this pointy guitar, this pointy SG shape.
Right.
I'm even fine with the maple neck, like on the fretboard. Like I think that's a cool look with this guitar. I don't know.
I think that's about all we got.
Yeah, we don't have to say anything else about this. Let's jump on to the next topic.
Yeah, another big topic, I guess, this last week or so. Foxpedal, who kind of like ghosted the internet.
Yeah, people have been, you know, like I never saw anyone really talking about them for a while, which is a bummer because they make great pedals. But like people all of a sudden were like, Foxpedal's not on their social media. I can't find them.
Yeah, I think the Instagram was gone. The website was gone. People weren't able to get a hold of Todd.
Yeah, it's full on just completely ghosted. And it wasn't like people were like, oh, I've got an outstanding order. Where's this guy?
Yeah,
it was more just like, oh, he just disappeared.
Yeah, I think it was like maybe people around Christmas or building up to Christmas were like, hey, I got a little Christmas money and I want to get something.
Yeah, I want to get a wave, you know? So that was going on for like a month or so now.
Yeah.
People randomly once or twice a week being like, hey, where are they? And then suddenly this past week, there's just a deluge of posts all over the Facebook, all over the Instagrams. My socials are just dripping with this news. It's all over everything. Creation pedal board company bought up Foxpedal and is going to keep the brand going and keep doing the research to get the next few pedals that were being developed onto the market.
Yeah, so this is basically the second brand that I'm aware of that Creation's picked up. The other one was
Risen?
Was Risen Amps, I believe. So it's kind of an interesting thing. And I feel like lately I've been hearing a lot about the idea of just different companies expanding out via buyouts.
Yeah, I think it's smart. I think it's smarter for a company like Creation to buy Foxpedal, which already has a pretty decent name. Like, there's some people who in the past have been like, I don't like the way their gear page or Reddit is. Oh, I don't like Foxpedal, this and that. This one pedal will do this thing I don't like. But for the most part, people really like that brand. They really like the Kingdom. I really like the Slow Hound, which is
I always
like a
thought
two-stringer.
their graphic choices were pretty spot on, and everything I played from them was solid.
I thought the Wave was really cool when I had it. I ended up selling it just because it was redundant within my my pedal collection. And honestly, like, don't ever judge me for selling something. It doesn't mean it's good or bad. It just means that I'm dying under a pile of pedals over here because like just that's the way the demo industry is. I just have a lot laying around. So eventually I have to move things and I have to pick favorites. And it's like, okay, I don't need 10 reverbs around. I can sell 5 of these. It's such a, humble braggy, like boohoo, first world problem sort of thing to talk about.
Well, so there's there's been some history of like other brands kind of doing this. I know if like 4 years ago, JHS bought out a company called Sky Pedals.
And they had the Alpine.
The Alpine but they were like based on the Sky Pedals Cloud 9.
But they were like a one pedal company sort of deal.
Right.
But it was a really good pedal. And they're like, oh, that guy's going out of business. Let's make him an offer.
Right. And I think the thing that makes the Creation thing like kind of, I don't know what the word I'm really looking for is. I guess what makes it at least interesting to me is that the two purchases, the branding purchases that Creation has done have been like straight business expanders. They're not buying out competition.
No, they're not buying a pedal company.
I think for a while, I feel like for a while, Creation might have been supplying the cabinets for Risen like beforehand anyway. For some reason that's in my head. I could be wrong. But it's like they were doing pedal boards, like custom pedal boards and like other cabinet woodworking type things. Then they're like, let's get into the amp game. Well, like, how do we do this? Well, that's how they did it. They bought an amp company. And so a lot of times I hear about like, well, such and such company is going down. Like maybe this other company will buy them out. But most of the time I hear that it's like competitors. So it's like,
that's not really the mood in the gear industry, especially the small builder part of it. It's more like, and we know how the industry is now. We know that all these people are friends or like they're colleagues and they talk to each other. So it's probably like, Todd was talking to different people like, yeah, I'm just going to throw in the hat. And he told enough people that, someone heard it and was like, oh, maybe I should just buy the brand. And I think in the case of Creation, it makes way more sense for Creation to, buy up an amp company or buy up a pedal company instead of trying to come out with a Creation branded amp company. Yeah. Or a Creation branded pedal company and,
though in the case of the
amps, I believe, come up with their own line.
In the case of the amps, I think Creation did like rebadge.
Oh yeah, they did, but they're very open with like these are the designs from Risen, where I don't think they're going to rebadge Foxpedal. Foxpedal already has a really well-known name and people are familiar with it. So it makes sense to keep it. Maybe they'll put a little tag on there that says Foxpedal by Creation or something like that.
Yeah. So yeah, overall, I think like that's a big surprise. And I think a lot of people are really stoked about it.
Yeah.
And like you said, it kind of came out of the blue because as far as I had heard, like
we just thought the brand was gone.
Yeah. I don't think I've ever heard anything negative in terms of, again, people will say like, well, the Kingdom The Kingdom's probably the easiest one to pick on. I don't know that this is necessarily valid. I thought the Kingdom sounded fine. But of course, the diehards will be like, well, it's not really a clone. Doesn't really sound like a clone.
The drama that was surrounding Foxpedal, if you want to call it drama, and the thing that people complained about, like on Reddit and whatnot.
Right.
And I saw all this when I did the demos of those pedals, like looking around, people commenting on them, was that the Wave was not original circuits.
Oh yeah.
He used like available circuits for the delay side and the reverb side, but then he did a few tweaks on it. He made it his own, and he was upfront with what was going on in there.
Yeah, and literally,
and like, yeah, you could buy those circuit board kits and build them yourself.
Yeah, but
then it's like, I could go buy the ingredients to make ice cream, and spend all day working on it, and pay pay retail for the ingredients. Or I could just go buy a $4 tub of dryers, And it's that sort of thing. It's like, yeah, I think kit builder nerds always forget that everyone else doesn't build and doesn't buy all those components and isn't just like, oh, if you want a fuzz face, just build it. Like, it's okay for people to buy things. That's what I'm saying. Like, relax. I always get these comments on my YouTube videos like, it costs them $30 to build that.
I saw that the other day. That comment.
In components, it cost them that, but it didn't cost them in R&D and in all the business behind it, and it didn't cost that in feeding their employees. I don't mean feeding. I mean giving them enough money that their employees can feed themselves and feed their families. Like, there's other costs other than just the components, guys. And I think the kit building or the DIY building community forgets that a lot of time. They just see a component list at every product that comes out. Like, oh, you could build that, whatever.
Yeah.
It's like, well, yeah, then you build it and support a company with a dozen employees for the cost of parts. Like, good luck.
No,
dude.
I mean, exactly. It's kind of silly.
Am I on a tangent now?
I think you are.
Down a rabbit trail?
What I was just going to say is, like, when I hear people saying, like, oh, it'd be like, I really like this brand, but they're kind of like being run weird. I wish somebody would buy, who knows what they're doing, would buy them out. Like,
I mean, we all wish someone would buy out Gibson.
Yeah. It's a nice idea, but the reality is I think there's a lot of like big market factors you have to think about. Oh, sure. Sometimes those companies are floundering for reasons that like mean that no one who actually has the money would be able to fix it.
Well, here's a little mind experiment here. If you had the money, you were independently wealthy, or you had some other big business that allowed you to have, the capital to do it, would you outright buy Gibson for a fair price? And then do you think you could turn it around? As like an investment property? I mean, you could buy Gibson as a retirement project and be like, oh, I'm just going to buy Gibson. I'm going to do what everyone thinks should be done and just return it to high quality standards and only making the good guitars, and everything else just gets cut. And it would be like Heritage, where it's like going back to the basics. But like, would you buy Gibson with the thought of like, oh, I can just save the whole brand,
sure,
beginner prices through high prices?
I think that's doable. And I think the reason it's doable is because Gibson has an established reputation. And Gibson
is an established brand.
Gibson
but then
exists.
There could be so many issues behind the scenes that you don't know about that make it a failing business, because they're trying so many other things.
And
they're floundering like a company that has felt like they're in trouble for a long time.
Well, and
they're doing dumb stuff, but like people, companies and people do dumb things when they're in trouble.
Right. I don't know if this was really on the docket for conversation, but the vintage, or what is it called? The modern, whatever, deluxe jumbo blah-de-da, the PRS guitar.
Yeah, the PRS ripoff.
Even though it's not really, because it's just a carved top M3.
Right.
But anyway, whatever that model's called, the modern whatever.
Yeah.
That thing came out with the semi-hollow version now.
In Easter colors.
in pastels. And those colors are fine. I don't know. You can't put that out as a $3,000 guitar, and expect people to be like, "Well, it's not custom shop." Like, you should be like, in theory, by the end of the month, you should be able to go into Guitar Center and get that guitar. I'm pretty sure.
No, I think it was from their custom shop Instagram.
Oh, right. Well, all I know is they were like bragging about how, we're gonna have this in the at the same price as the other guitar.
Yeah, there it is on Gibson Customs Instagram.
Weird.
Gibson Custom Shop.
I wonder how. I don't know. I was under the impression it was still going to be like 3,400 or whatever. Anyway, like that's not. I don't want to say those aren't good colors. I think the colors are fine, but they're not flagship colors.
I just
especially
don't like
when
that
you're not
F-hole.
Especially when you're Gibson. Like if they put those out, if they put that out in black with white binding, vintage sunburst.
It says contact your Gibson custom dealer for more info. So this isn't going to be a production model.
Vintage sunburst,
Gold top.
In the cherry burst.
In the original run of these that they debuted a year ago, there was a gold top, and I was like, yeah, I could be in that. Flat black or gloss black. It looks good, but it's still like I'd rather buy a PRS than that with a 10 top,
Right. Oh, and that's what I'm saying is, for a 10 top, you pay a lot more, but I suppose that's neither here nor there. Oh my gosh. It's called the Modern Double Cut. Whatever.
I actually don't know what Cold Duke paid. Did he get a good deal on his
I don't
PRS?
know. I didn't know he has a. I don't.
You didn't know that Cold Duke has a PRS?
Heard of. I vaguely remember hearing about it.
He's got a 10 top PRS. So much for the gear slum. We're like the gear castle over there. gear millionaires.
Dang. Yeah. Maybe stab somebody to get it. Okay, yeah, the Gibson Custom Shop. I guess the Gibson Custom Shop modern double cut whatever is 4K on Musician's Friend. So you can get these.
Yeah.
Musician's Friend, which isn't custom dealer doesn't.
Sure, they sell the customs, but it's not like
So $4,000. This is not a guitar that if you showed this to me in these colors, I would not expect to pay $4,000. And that's really, I guess, all I really want to say about
Gibson, I'd be like, oh, maybe you can get that for $2,000, but that's still more than I would ever pay for that guitar. But it looks cheap. It looks like an Agile sort of jam off of Rondo.
So I guess to answer the first part of your question is, if I had a lot of money, would I consider Gibson as a potential investment brand long term?
Yeah, you could turn around and save.
I'm the Warren Buffett of guitars. I don't know. Maybe. Obviously, if you have that much money and you're looking to invest and you have so much money that you can basically walk into a board meeting and be like, yeah, first order of business, Henry J, bye.
Yeah.
Then you have the amount.
Pull the whole Bruce Wayne thing. Yeah, I own 51 shares now.
Yeah,
you're out of here.
That also means that you have the money to actually audit the brand and find out where these shortfalls are, and find out is this because of bad product launches? Is this because of bad? Is this all just because bad modeling, bad product?
Can we cut the fat on production and organize that
exactly
that saving into quality control?
Are there too many dumb models? Are the prices just too high for the quality of product? But could a small price increase dramatically increase? It could be some kind of threshold we need to stay under 1,500, but if we bumped everything up to 1,700, then our QC would be 1,000 times better.
Right.
Maybe you need to make that happen and do everything at a higher level, where then Gibson starts operating the way Hamer used to operate.
Right. Well, if I took over the brand, the first thing I'd do is be like, I don't care how much it costs. Quality control is job number one now, and we'll figure everything else out along the way. And then I would advertise that and be like, Gibson guitars now with quality control.
I always they've been trying to diversify that brand so hard too, with all of their different buyouts and
record players. And
and to the level where I guess this year, I don't really want to talk about this too much, but they pulled out a NAMM, which a few brands have been pulling out a NAMM for various reasons.
They pulled out a NAMM before last year.
And now that they are a lifestyle brand with a lot of different things going on, I get why they did it, and I get why CES is a more lucrative trade show for them.
Yeah. And it's a couple weeks ago, they were in the news because they were suing that toy company for making like Slash figurines and holding a guitar that kind of looked like Les Paul-y.
Of course, Slash's Les Paul wasn't even a Gibson.
Yeah, but it's like, everyone reacted like, why would they even do that? It's like, because they probably want to get into the toy game.
Yeah,
they want to keep their horizons open and do all sorts of like identity, lifestyle brand sort of stuff.
Right.
That's got their name on it. They probably don't actually have the ability to make it actually happen in a cool way that anyone wants. So
it's kind of a thing. I think the right person who looked at it as the real issue is that I think if you wanted to look at it from an investment, you really can't scale back.
No.
You might be able to change
You have to buy it as a retirement thing where it's like you invest in the brand because you love the brand and you want to save it for future generations. It's like a museum piece.
Because the reality is the thing that everyone says Gibson needs to do is stop making stupid products. Yeah. And the reality is that
make your 4 flagship guitars in the 5 finishes everyone wants and with quality control that commands the prices that they charge.
But the reality is that they sold so many M2s that the value of the brand is like, I'm just throwing numbers out there, but say you could buy Gibson for $100 million because the value of the company is $20 million.
Right.
Those numbers are not anywhere near reality.
Just total speculation.
But the brand's worth 20 mil. It's going to cost you 100 mil to buy it out. But the only way that like you can achieve what you want the brand to be, it would be to scale back where the brand would only actually be worth, $8 million. So instead of being able to make your money back in 5 years, it's now going to take you 12, 13 years to make that money back with the brand operating the way that you think it should be operating. And that's really the issue, I think, with buying out a brand like Gibson is,
I mean, eventually,
if your solution is to scale back, then your solution is that this is such a long-term project. It breaks the 90-day rule.
Yeah. Eventually, maybe it'll fall so far that like the company just doesn't exist anymore. And someone who is, a guitar builder who is a fan of the legacy of Gibson will buy up just the name for $50,000 or something stupid like that and just have a Gibson factory somewhere that just makes, hundreds of guitars a year. And it just becomes like, well, this is the legacy of the brand, and this is the only way to get a new Gibson. And I think the brand will survive forever,
right?
But it'll be that sort of situation at some point. It'll be like the guy who is still making Stradivariuses somewhere, which I actually don't know what that's like. It might be a big deal. I just pulled that way out of my ass. All right, let's jump to the last ad and get out of here. What do you say?
Yeah, let's do it. This is Alien Band.
This was posted on the Facebook group by David Chote.
Yeah, this is in Albuquerque. Which,
of course it is.
I guess I'm reading this.
Yeah, I'm trying to find it right now.
Extraterrestrial Band. Location, Milky Way Galaxy. Before the change, I was an accountant, mostly taxes, never had any use for music. It interfered with my focus on the tax equation. Occasionally, the wife and I would attend bars and bands would play. She liked the oldies, 80s stuff, but nothing ever clicked for me. So it was with great courage that I confess. Recently, I was abducted by aliens.
Of course.
Most of you will laugh, but for those few who know and believe, perhaps you'll read a little further. And in Albuquerque, there are a lot of us. I still can't speak about the experience very much. I have scattered memories and strange markings on my body. However, one thing I remember
who doesn't?
Is the entities experimenting on my consciousness and getting permission from something called the Galactic Avatar Command to implant musical intelligence. And since that experience, I've begun writing music, 5 songs a day at least. I constantly hear it in my head and can control the way it sounds. I have learned to play 7 different instruments in the last 7 weeks since the abduction: guitar, ukulele, tuba, E-flat trumpet, jaw harp, theremin, the accordion, and additionally Tuvan throat singing.
Oh, of course.
Tuvan throat singing in 7 weeks.
Yeah.
That sounds like this guy should be opening a correspondence college.
You give me an instrument a day and I'll post on Craigslist somewhere that I've learned a new instrument
today.
Yeah, I want to see the proof. I want to hear him playing. I want to see the videos.
I have given up my tax accounting practice and plan to do alien music full time. I have a telepathic connection to the head of their council, a light bringer who calls himself a Kanatan Amabo. I just call him A. A says, I will find like-minded individuals who've had the same experience, and we will form a band called the Space Archdiocese Spiriliums. That sounds like a fungus. The songs will deal with subject matter such as abduction, anal probing, cattle mutilation, interspecies breeding, Bermuda Triangle, time travel for the purpose of anal probing, Egyptian mystery cults.
Wait, I thought this guy was serious. Is he joking now?
I don't know. Time travel for the purpose of interspecies breeding, grays and whites, dimensional doorways, anal probing for the purpose of interspecies breeding, Star Trek, the old show, not the pieces of shit made by J.J. Abrams. Egyptian medicine, including anal probing for the purpose of divination. Is that like anal probing to find water?
Yeah. There's no water up there, buddy.
Is that divination? That's divination, right?
I think it means more like a spiritual kind of.
Apparently, the Egyptians
like
did that.
Spells.
Area 51, human Pleiadian hybrids, and other famous musicians under the influence of the Galactic Avatar Command, like Lemmy, Sun Ra, Prince, Max Sabbath, the Army of Gay Unicorns, and surprisingly, Tom Jones. Please respond. I'm ready to believe.
Surprised Rush wasn't in there.
I'm ready to believe. Signed, Quavon. Gary is my human name.
It's easy to laugh at this. It's easy to make fun. I'm sure we have people in our audience who have had experiences that would also be easy to laugh at. But I mean, parts of this. I mean, come on. Like, this is the fixation on writing songs about anal probing makes me think it's a joke.
Right, and it's not just that. It's like you have a topic, and then you say time travel for the purpose of this topic. It's like if we opened a course and said, "Hey guys, we're going to talk about podcasting, and then we're going to talk about time travel for the purpose of podcasting,"
which would be pretty great, honestly. Like, if we could time travel and be the only time traveling podcast, that's
well. As soon as we start a course on the topic of time traveling podcasts,
like, can you imagine, like,
other podcasts are going to jump in on that?
Imagine we go back in time and we interview Amelia Earhart, and the whole time we're just like snickering, like, "Enjoy your flight, good luck."
And that's why we don't do interviews.
Interview everyone that's about to get on the Hindenburg. I don't know why I'm so fixated on people dying on aircraft, but that would be the specialty of our podcast, apparently. Anal probing for the purpose of making fun of people who died on the Hindenburg.
Well, big thanks to our sponsors this week.
Okay, no. Sinusoid cables. The only cable for the purpose of anal probing and time travel.com.
Well, that sponsorship is now over.
Here's my question. Here's my question. I'm pretty sure Sinusoid is chill with whatever we do. I mean, we could do the worst things and they'd be like, "Yeah, we love you."
What's the question you have?
Okay, my question is, you get abducted by aliens.
Okay.
They're like, "We're going to give you a skill you never had before."
Uh-huh.
What do you go for? Do you go for the music skill? Because I know both of us already lack it. Aliens could definitely improve my playing. Do you go for something else? Like, but then the catch-22 here is that when they give it to you, you have to devote that skill to furthering your understanding and interactions with aliens.
Well, so here's my
here's proselytizing aliens to everyone.
Here's my problem. Okay, other famous musicians under the influence of the Galactic Avatar Command. Okay, Lemmy, like, yeah, I guess I can see that, and I would be okay with that. Sun Ra, not really familiar. Prince, yeah, I mean, I guess I'd be down with being abducted by aliens to get the skills of Prince.
Sure.
Max Sabbath.
Yeah, that's the Black Sabbath cover band that dresses like Ronald McDonald.
I am not at all familiar with the Army of Gay Unicorns.
Yeah, me either. I actually have a friend online who recently went to a Max Sabbath show. They were opening for the Dwarves locally. And he was like, "Yeah, that was a really fun joke for about a minute and a half." And then I was ready for them to be done.
Yeah, and Tom Jones. I mean, I don't...
Hey, that's not unusual.
This isn't like a group of people that I'm like, yeah, this sounds
If
like
aliens were like, we're going to make you this generation's Tom Jones, I'd be like, yeah, sign me up. I'm down for that. But I think in the case of,
I mean, that would explain. Actually, this would explain because, of course, we know the Egyptians were all educated by aliens. Because previous cultures in no way could have technology that we don't understand. And it's just
they were
impossible.
simple
Must
past
be
people
aliens
who didn't have the technology we have now, and they weren't smart enough to, so they
Tom
couldn't
Jones'
do those things.
Second most famous song is "Hey There, Pussycat."
Whoa, whoa, whoa!
So it makes sense because the Egyptians worshipped cats.
Yeah.
Tom Jones, again, "Hey There, Pussycat." Illuminati confirmed.
So anyways, this guy makes a lot of big claims about his newfound abilities. He can play all these instruments and he's mastered them.
But apparently he hasn't recorded any of it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If the proof is in the pudding, dude. Like, post links. Like, it's not hard to record yourself these days. You posted this with a computer. Maybe you did it with a smartphone. Post a video of you playing any of these instruments competently. And, maybe post pictures of your pre-music life when you were just some accountant Square. And, show like, I didn't have any music instruments in my life. I've never played musical instruments. Here's the receipts to all my new instruments. And then we got a case. I want to see what's going on here. But my side story to that is that we have a UFO cult here in San Diego that's been around for a long time.
Is it the Lemurians or the Urinarians?
The Urinarians is who I'm talking about. And they were my favorite people to watch on local cable access back in the day when I had cable, because they had some really just entertaining things they would put up in the way cable access can be entertaining. And there's this one bit they did where, well, it wasn't a bit. It was, them showing off their alien powers. They were showing this guy painting a mural on the side of their building. And they're like, yeah, this guy, like 2 years ago, he couldn't paint at all. And then our friend on the planet, whatever, beamed the information of how to be a great artist into his head. And look at this incredible painting. He's just an incredible artist now.
Yeah.
And they were showing the painting, and it was just garbage. It was really, really bad. And I felt really bad for them in that moment. But I wonder if that's what this would be like. It's like, yeah, I learned accordion. It's like, yeah, you got the general concept
you
down.
bought an accordion and you know how to like pump it.
And there are people who have like, traumatic brain injuries or like brain tumors and things like that. And all of a sudden they have just an understanding open up to them of how to do certain things.
Right.
But they still have to practice. They don't sit down day one and they can just play any song on the piano. They have to sit down there and decode it. And maybe that decoding makes them be able to do it faster.
Yeah.
And more technically proficient in certain ways. But it's like they still have to practice to learn. Like this isn't an immediate thing that you get from aliens. Like if an alien tells you they're going to give you musical skill, you're still going to have to practice is the moral of the story. So get anal probed, get abducted, get those magic music powers, but don't go around bragging about it. Practice.
Just make something.
Yeah.
You play 7 instruments.
Show us what you made. Show your work.
Show me something good.
Yeah. All right, let's wrap it up. Big thanks to our sponsors, Sinusoid Cables. They make cables and smiles.
Big thanks to Matthews Effects supporting the Fantasy Football League and also this show.
Yeah, Rick Matthews is a big friend of the show, and we love hanging out with that guy. Looking forward to seeing him at NAMM. I'm assuming he's going to be there.
I believe so, yeah.
Also, big thanks to Chaseless Audio. I know Joel will be at NAMM because I've seen the layout for the bottom floor at NAMM or whatever floor he's on, and he's going to have a big old booth this year.
Oh, really?
Like, really big. Like, you know how big the JHS booth is? Like, that big.
I think his booth was that big last year.
No. He had a little booth in comparison last year. He
had a pretty big. He had a pretty big booth.
Unless something has changed, but when I saw that map, I was like, "Wow,
cool,
going for the big time now." But yeah, go check out my demo of the Warped Vinyl Hi-Fi. It's a bunch of fun. I did some animation for it, and I did some fun playing. All right. Tell us about that song, Steve.
This week's song was sent in by Scott Toolin a long time ago, but we're finally getting to it. Yeah. It says, I like hearing the listener submitted songs at the end, so I figured I would toss one of mine out there for consideration. If you guys like these songs, we need more. always. So send us something. Anyway, he says all instruments and vocals are done by me except for the drums, which I programmed in Reaper. Guitar tracks are a mixture of amp sim plugins and actual mic'd amps, and are almost always Telecasters, though I do have an Epi LP that makes an occasional appearance when recording. Bass is recorded using a SansAmp Bass DI. Vocals recorded with the world's cheapest MXL condenser mic. Hey, that sounds like what I'm using. Hope you enjoy it. Thanks for hours of laughs and entertainment. No, thank you, Scott, for sending this in. Scott runs a company called RST Custom Effects. You can check him out at
of laughter and entertainment. He can't be talking about us.
rstcustomeffects.com. It could be us because we literally put out like 250 hours. So maybe he was only entertained by 2 hours.
If you cut clips here and there might be some laughs in there.
This song is called Moth, I believe.
Moth, I believe. That's an interesting song title.
Shut up. Gosh, you're the worst. It's called Moths. Moths. Hope you enjoy it.
Later, guys.
It's okay. You don't have to be afraid, 'cause they're not gonna hurt you anymore. There's no way, once the plan's been made, to turn back or to take back your words. Even in the summer when the days are so much longer, they keep you trapped inside. Even though you're brave until the moths have gone away, simply want to hide. So babe, why do you care anyway? 'Cause it ain't gonna matter when you're gone. There's no way people aren't gonna say, I remember better times long ago. Even in the summer when the days are so much longer, they keep you trapped inside. Even though you're brave until